Hey professionals, Sophia Sarah Joseph here, author of Choreography of Awakening, international speaker, former Olympic figure skating coach, and founder and creator of imagintlife, a revolutionary path to mastery of self that leads towards creation of your masterpiece, the life you were born to live according to your life's blueprint. Welcome to Professionals on Air podcast, a podcast where we discuss how to walk, talk, live, and grow authentically as a professional in the 21st century. It is my intention to bring you diverse and exciting speakers and prove that no matter where we come from and what we do, there are clear laws that work through us all that we can tap into to create what we desire. And today, I have a pleasure and honor to introduce you to my amazing guest, Mundey Young, founder of Mundey Young Coaching and Marcel International Business and Cultural Association nonprofit, where she helps Anglophones and Francophones
Hmm.
connect through business, culture, and language.
Yeah.
Monday is an expat who lived and worked in England, Germany, New Zealand, Australia, and now in France. She is in France right now, actually. We have this
Yes.
conversation from France, and she is helping her clients who are focused on moving to Europe with personal and business development. Welcome, Monday. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Lovely
Thank you.
introduction. Thanks.
Thank you for your generosity and gift of time
Yeah.
and wisdom to
My
share with us
pleasure.
today.
My pleasure.
Manda, tell us a little bit about what do you do and how did you get started this?
So my job is basically helping people who live abroad or who want to have an international lifestyle understand the best way to navigate that. When you have people who are expatriates, they tend to move quite often. So every 2 years or 3 years, if you're a digital nomad, you may be moving more frequently than that. And sometimes achieving your personal and business goals become difficult when you have such changing circumstances all the time. Um, Also, I coach lots of trailing spouses who are following their partners who may have corporate jobs that take them all around the world to help them to be able to establish a life for their self, to find because sometimes you can get lost along the way when you don't really have what seems like your own purpose through the journey. So my job is really giving people back their purpose, vision, and helping them to achieve whatever personal or business goals they may have while they're living abroad.
Well, it's not a common thing that you do. It's kind of unusual. So I'm curious, how did you start? How did you come to this? Why are you doing this?
Well, because I've had an international life myself, so I left the United States when I was around 22 years old. So I've been living in Europe, or I've been living outside of the United States. I would say since 2001. And
20
the things
years.
I coach people on are the challenges that I faced myself when I went abroad. Sometimes we think that, if you see a beautiful beach and scenery, you think, oh, I could live here. This is going to be so wonderful. And it doesn't necessarily work like that. Once the rose-colored glasses fall off and you have to deal with language barriers, cultural differences, um, some trailing partners don't have the right to work, visa challenges. There's so many different things that you're confronted with when you live in a different country, in a different culture, with a different
Mm.
language. And it can be extremely challenging. And through my journey of doing that and starting my own businesses myself abroad, I recognized with connecting with the expatriate community or the Anglophone community abroad that there were so many people having these same difficulties. And I just decided to turn my life experience, along with also, getting a coaching certificate and degree in what I do. I decided to help people to achieve the things that I was able to do abroad.
So what does professionalism mean to you?
Um, I would say professionalism is someone who who has a clear view, who has a clear definition of what their role is and what kind of service they provide, and they do that consistently. And they do that while being very sort of conscious of the people that they're serving and of people's time. I think professionalism has a lot to do with um, respecting other people's time and how you're serving them and how you're actually interacting with each other in a professional environment, that each person, no matter what their status
Mhm.
is, has value, and that we don't see any sort of title more high than another, that every person deserves respect if they're providing some sort of service.
I really love how you brought the time
Mm,
into this. Actually, I've interviewed so many people, and
yeah,
everyone is bringing like a little different aspect of how they see professionalism, and you bringing in that time and understanding and honoring the time of the other person, and
mm,
that
mm,
really comes with boundaries at the same time, and
sure.
just really hear that and
Because
appreciate
when you're a
for sure.
professional, your time is valuable, right? I mean, especially if you're someone who works for themselves and you're already the marketing person, you're already the customer service, you're already, providing the service. I mean, you're everything for your business. You're the accountant, you're all of this. Your time is extremely precious. And if you have people who don't respect it and who waste it, they're basically wasting the value you could be putting into your business. So yeah, I would say definitely as a solopreneur, um, time is very valuable to me. And have making sure people respect that is I would say one of the most major things of running a business successfully.
So what would you say is your biggest strength as a professional?
Adaptation. And I'm not a perfectionist.
Is that did you say perfectionism? Just double checking.
No, no, I said
Not a
adaptation, and I
oh,
am not a
not a
perfectionist.
perfectionist. Okay, I
I am
hear
not
you.
a perfectionist at all. Um,
Oh wow. So what I'm hearing you say is that not being a perfectionist
mm,
is your one of your biggest
biggest
strengths.
strengths. Yes.
I love that. Like, 'cause how many people would look at perfectionism as their strength? And you actually saying not being a perfectionist. So I'm hearing flexibility as
Sure.
strength.
Yeah, I think when you're a solopreneur, not everything's gonna be perfect. No one can do something perfect they've never done before. So if you're going to get out there and you're going to start serving, you just have to start where you are. And then with time, you perfect it. That's what practice is about. That's what experience is about. And if you don't allow yourself to experience and make mistakes, to learn from them, to continue to improve, and to actually see where growth is possible, then you're going to put yourself in a very tight box, and you will actually alienate yourself from people, because people like to see flaws in other people, not when it comes to the service you're providing, but I think they like to know that the person that's serving them is a human being, and that they themselves also are out here trying to provide the best that they can, the best way that they can, and sometimes that is less than perfect.
Well, I hear the coach in you that's speaking
Yes.
because as a coach, you're trained to meet people where they
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
And probably, I think, also the challenge of a coach is that we sometimes we give that
Excuse me.
allowance to our clients to meet them where they are, but not giving that allowance to be where we are for our own selves.
Yeah, and that's why coach needs a coach as well. It's in my professional experience that everyone needs support. And so I can't see all my blind spots. So I definitely have a coach that I work with for my business to make sure because perfectionism can turn into procrastination, right?
For
And
sure.
you have to be very, very wary of that.
Because you
And
have to walk that edge.
yes, you have to be willing to risk. You have to be willing to take a risk.
What
And when you're
so
taking a risk, yeah,
with that, what would you say your biggest weakness as a professional is?
my biggest weakness as a professional would be giving too much,
Thinking too much,
giving too much.
giving too much. Well, that
Yeah,
comes with coaching, right? And as a service
it
provider.
does. Yeah.
I so
When
hear
you're
you.
giving a service, keeping those boundaries tight, which I'm sure that you know as well, can be very difficult, especially when you're dealing with people on an emotional level,
So
because you feel for them.
how do you know when you went too much versus not enough? How do you know that middle ground?
My mental health will decline. My mental and physical health will decline. I'll be exhausted. I'll be tired. Um,
So this is already after the fact. Like I already gave too much,
it's
and
even
now I'm like,
it's even after maybe a session that's gone on too long, right? How do you feel after that? It kind of took out all your energy, and that's not what it's supposed to do. And so I really pay attention to how my mental health is doing and what my physical body is telling me, and to listen to my physical body when it says, "I'm good." Like, I think I need a nap, or I think we should take a little bit of time off. That contract looks amazing, and that's maybe, that much more money a year, but you're already tired. So is that actually realistic? It's being able to let things go and to understand that there's enough opportunities in the world that you don't have to grab every one of them. You have to grab the ones that's going to fulfill you the most and keep you physically and mentally the most healthy.
ideally here the level of your awareness of yourself, where you are, how far you can
Mm,
push yourself, when you need to be
mm.
really honor that. It's such a gift too that you are offering to your
It was
clients
learned.
at the same time.
That's the hard not life. I learned that through experience. I mean, I had burnout, because it was, I had businesses before I became a coach, and I experienced burnout. Um, and it literally crippled me for like 2 years. I couldn't really work because I had just worked so much, so hard for so long that I broke. And that experience taught me what your body will do and
Mm.
your mind will do if you do not listen to it. It will just break down. And then you won't be able to do anything at all. So it's extremely important to stay connected to yourself and to listen to yourself, to what what your
100.
body and your is telling you. Yeah.
What would you say has contributed to your success the most? Luck, timing, a mentor, what you offer, or the way you do business, or something else?
I would say all of them. I think it helps when you're in the right place at the right time, and you know, uh, for people who believe in spirituality, and I'm a spiritual person. Sometimes people are put on your path, and you're blessed that that happened in that moment. I had women along the way give me excellent business advice, who were my clients, who told me your prices are not high enough. She's like, I don't know why I'm telling you this because I'm your client. She's like, but your prices aren't high enough. And and I've had people really just really be very kind, uh, very giving. But when they did that, I didn't waste the opportunity. That's the only thing I can say. When someone opened a door, I walked through it. I didn't think about it. I didn't question myself. I may be a bit scared, but I walk through the door. If the
Mm.
opportunity presents itself, I'm going to show up. And by doing the experience, I'll figure out if it's for me or not. But I will never stop myself from trying something because I'm afraid. So I think that's what it is. I can do things even when I'm afraid.
That is such a quality of developing at courage
Sure.
to go there. What would you say ideally? What do you do the first 60 minutes of your day? How does your first 60 minutes look like?
It's prayer. I say the Lord's Prayer first thing, and I take about 20 minutes for myself in the morning, if my son doesn't wake up before me. Um, and, I do a bit of meditation. I sort of intentionally set my day in my mind before I put my feet to the ground because when you're married and you have small children, soon as you get out of your bed, it's all over, So those first 20 minutes of the day are very important for me to I kinda scan myself and my body, and I ask myself how I'm feeling, and I kind of manage my day according to that time in the morning. If my energy is low, then I was like, "Well, maybe I might move some things around today and give myself a couple of hours in the afternoon." Um, it's really spending time to tap into myself and my intuition to see how I'm going to manage my day every day.
What is your biggest struggle today? How do you deal with that?
I would say balancing being a wife and a mother and a businesswoman. That's the biggest struggle.
Hmm, I
Yeah,
hear that.
yeah.
So, I have a question from the audience for you.
Okay,
Are there are there differences in professionalism and professional expectations in different
sure.
countries? And
Absolutely.
if someone wants to live and work in another country, what one thing they absolutely must know or do?
They need to understand the culture. If you're going to do business in another culture, there are always tons of materials based on how that culture does business. Never assume that everyone just because the culture speaks English that the that they understand English culture, right? In Japan, in Asian countries, this is why, 80% of mergers are not successful because of the misunderstanding culturally. You really need to understand what offends people, how hierarchy works, the roles of men and
Mm,
women, regardless of how you feel about it. It doesn't change what actually exists. So I would say first is understanding the business culture, understanding time, because every culture has a different relationship to time, right? So in African countries, if someone's 2 hours late, that's not a big deal. In United States, that's a big deal. So you kind of really need to understand their relationship to time, and you can find that
mm,
information. Each culture has labels of what how they deal with time. And also, whether you're a man or a woman, you have to understand how that actually also works in that culture. And you have to remove judgment when you're doing business with different cultures. Whether you agree with how they live or not is really not the point, because you're not going to change a whole country and you're not going to change a whole culture. Acceptance is key, and you have to really find where you can place yourself inside of that.
we got you here in the middle of us, but you're not here.
Yeah, we can't see you.
I don't know. Okay. Well, yeah, I really appreciate like the key points that you are bringing in
Excuse me.
about about acceptance and non-judgment and that presence that's so helpful
Hmm.
for for creating a thriving opportunity, right, in another
Well,
country or anywhere. Yeah.
it's a global economy now. It is a global economy. And if you do not know how to deal with other people's cultures and how to respect them, and you can't even and you don't invest any time in understanding the culture of people you're doing business with, you're going to find yourself at a disadvantage. So if you want to have an advantage, and you try to learn just even a couple phrases of the language when you enter the meeting, if they bow, you bow. If they remove their shoes, you remove your shoes. You don't you show your respect for the way they live their lives, and that's so important, and that's what gives will give you the advantage over someone who doesn't respect that and who doesn't
Mm,
understand that. So I think to be really effective to do international business, it's really being sensitive to cultural norms, and making an effort to connect with that culture.
I have a surprise question for you, a
Okay.
challenge question.
Okay.
So imagine
Yeah.
that your name changed today and
Okay.
you are no longer called Monday
Mhm.
and you have to choose a new name
Mhm.
out of these four: success, trust, courage, or passion.
So I only
Which of
heard
these
3. I heard
names:
trust, courage, passion. What was the other one?
success, trust,
Success.
courage, or passion, which of these names would you choose and what would change in your life as a result?
I think I would choose courage because I think with courage you can
Courage.
do anything. Um, and what was the second part? So I would
What
choose
i-
courage as a name.
so now your name is Courage, so you're no longer
Mhm,
Monday, it's now
mhm.
Courage Young. And
Yeah,
what changed in your life as a result of that?
not very much. I think my name should probably be courage already, because I take a lot of risk and I already put myself in lots of unpredictable
Okay,
situations.
now I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. Courage is no longer a challenge. What about the other three? What would be a challenge word that would actually push you to a
Probably
different
passion.
level?
Passion would probably be one.
All right,
Would be a
so now
challenging one to me.
passion, Young. What
Yeah.
changes in your life?
I would have to listen more to my passions. I would say that's something that I had a lot of difficulty doing in the first parts of my professional life. I'm a very analytical person. And sometimes my analytical mind can pour the water on my passion, talk me out of doing things I'm passionate about by being analytical.
Hmm.
So yeah.
All right. Woo! So my question is to audience. Imagine that your name changed today and you have to choose a new name out of these four: success, trust, courage, or passion. Which of these names would you choose and what would change in your life as a result? And write down your chosen word in the comments or send me a message to receive a free gift from me. And I want to thank you, Monday, for a
Always.
great interview. Truly, this was amazing, and I've learned so much from you. And I
Yeah,
know,
thanks for having me.
thank you. I know audience learned a lot from you too, and I know you have some offer to people, and also where can they find you?
Excuse me. I have a bit of a cold today. Yes, so as the giveaway from today, people can get a 30-minute session with me. They can contact me on my website, www.mondayyoung.com. You can literally find me everywhere by just typing my full name. So on Instagram, it's Monday Young Coaching. On Facebook, it's Monday Young Coaching. My website is Monday Young. On Twitter, I'm Monday Young. So it's really, really easy to find me anywhere you look.
Well, we're going to add the websites. We're going to add that information also in the comments.
Okay, great.
Professionals, thank you so much for tuning in
Yeah,
to our
thank you,
show
everyone.
today, the Professionals on Air podcast, a podcast where we discuss how to walk, talk, live, and grow authentically as a professional in the 21st century. If you want to be featured guest, please send me a direct message. To learn more about Monday, visit her website. We'll put the link in the comments
Well,
below so you can see that. And I can't wait to see you next Wednesday, where I will introduce you to Dana Dunbar and Julia Padway, the co authors of just released an already massively successful science fiction novel, Awake. And that's going to come with like insane, amazing trailer that I'm going to share with you. You guys are going to have a treat. This is a real deal, amazing stuff. So make sure you don't want to miss that. It's next Wednesday, and as always, send us your questions. Ciao. Bye.
bye.